They may have sailed the seven seas and piloted some of the most technical equipment on Earth. But now the British Navy Union team is about to face its biggest challenge, Australia's rugby sides. So to prepare, the sailors have left their usual training equipment to the side, favouring some team spirit exercises.
We've been here a few days now, and every day we've been doing rugby training, so we just decided to give the lads something different, and as you can hear from the background, we're enjoying it a bit as well.
Having already defeated one Australian team in Sydney, the squad will now face Newcastle, boasting several players from the Country Cup winning side, including Julian Morton and David Lubans. But the British side have picked the cream of the crop from their homeland.
From the north down to the southwest down to the southeast, but we pick Navy squad players for our inter-service championship, which is against the Army and the RAF, and then we bring the best 25 players that are available.
The biggest challenge is yet to come for the travelling sportsmen.
We depart then down towards Shoalhaven, and then we prepare for the first of the test series, which is against the Royal Australian Navy down at Shoalhaven Park.
Peter Scott and Shane Suska started out together, and now, more than 10 years after they first waded into the sport, they're reaching the pinnacle of their careers as teammates. Selection in the Olympic team caps off years of hard work.
I tried for the last Olympics and unfortunately missed out, and to make it this year's really special.
And the years of friendship are likely to serve them well when the two other members of the team jump on board and the pressure of being amongst the world's best mounts.
It's basically 4 strong individuals working as a team, and that's the way that's usually the recipe for success, and hopefully we'll have that.
The two leave local waters and head for Europe tomorrow and 3 World Cup events. From there it's on to the United States, then back to the Gold Coast for Olympic training.
That's quite good for us in the fact that we're just starting a new sort of a base season in our training, and we're jumping into the deep end really. We're not really on our game just yet, but by the time the tour's over we will be, and it'll give us a good indication of where we're heading for the games.
Brooke Webster, NBN News.
Another start put Justin Norris in another final, this time in the 200 metres individual medley. After a typically fast lap of butterfly, he lost ground in the backstroke and then picked it up in the third 50. Commentators caught out before by the fast-finishing teenager now paid special attention as he closed on race favourite Matt Dunn. After a win in the 400 metres IM and second by 1/100th of a second in the 200 metres butterfly, there's no doubting the teenage flyer's pedigree, according to his local coach, Shane Arnold.
He's Newcastle, Stockton, Newcastle Beach, he's pure Newcastle.
Norris is the third fastest qualifier in tonight's medley final. He's already taken 1.5 seconds off his best time in this event. A top 2 finish should see him line up in his third individual Olympic event, a feat so far matched only by Susie O'Neill.
From our base and the workload he's doing at the Institute, he'll definitely handle it and he'll only improve. He's young, it's his second major, it'll be his second major meet, and I can only see medals.
After much talked about negotiations, the Breakers are now owned by True Blue. Just what amount they've paid hasn't been revealed, but former owner David Hall is a major shareholder in the company. But now running the club, former General Manager Maurice McAllister, who's now the Chief Executive. And he has a job ahead of him to firstly pay creditors what they're owed, then convince them to stick with the club.
They have helped us with in trust, and we need to restore that, and I certainly feel that we need to do that sooner than later.
A priority list is being drawn up with everyone expected to be paid out by July, but convincing coach Lee Sterry the club's future is fine may be just as difficult. The coach attacked club management earlier in the week, but has held initial talks with McAllister. And the deal is also structured around repaying the old consortium the $1.3 million they're owed from the original sale to David Hall last year.
They will have a meeting with the old consortium and an amicable agreement to be reached.
Representatives for True Blue will be in Newcastle next week. Jim Callanan, NBN News.
Wallara Colliery's managers, Coal Operations Australia, simply ran out of options. Falling coal prices and poor markets will lead to 87 job losses when the mine closes on the 23rd of next month. Between now and then, workers will be given time off to attend retraining courses. Meanwhile, despite industrial unrest in some of the Hunter Valley's mines, Coal and Allied has the backing of retailers in Muswellbrook. Business owners are now asking to be filled in on the company's plans for the Mount Pleasant operation so they can make their own arrangements for the future.
We consider that mining people supply the money, we consider we supply the services, and we can't see why we haven't met before.
They say the promise of extra jobs around the town can only be good news, and they plan to capitalise on it.
It doesn't make a difference who you are, whether you're me here or you in a dress shop or someone in a flower shop. You run a business for a business to make money.
And it seems they've already come to terms with their imminent status as a mining town and want to be kept informed during the planning process so they can also be ready to expand. Brooke Webster, NBN News. The highlight of Horse Week in the thoroughbred capital could be nothing less than a spectacular event. Thousands of people turn out for a day at the races, and for some it's an annual homecoming.
People come back every year. They come from New Zealand and West Australia, all over the place for the Horse Week, and it's a very popular week.
The fashions in the field spoke for themselves, while punters pored over form guides for the tips to the winners. But record prize money of more than $400,000 meant the real attraction was in the top quality horseflesh in the feature races.
Yeah, the Scone Cup's been a great race over decades and decades on the old track at White Park. It had a tremendous atmosphere, and these days on this magnificent complex here at Scone, country racing, you don't get it any better.
All the top hoops were there too. Darren Beedman, recent Golden Slipper winner Lenny Beasley and Larry Cassidy saddled up for one of the day's finest races, the Inglis Classic for 2-year-olds. And the field for the main event, the 1600 metre Scone Cup, was just as impressive.
Good quality field with all the top jocks, wide open race.
And what a finish to the feature.
Some Bulldog pups got a feel of life out in the middle, but in the main event it was no child's play. West Centre Gavin Cook took little time to leave his mark on the match and on Curry captain Steve Crowe. Cook given 10 in the sin bin, Curry putting 2 on the scoreboard through Rick Ryan. But having the extra man doesn't always mean the overlap will work. The big hits kept coming, but Curry made the tackles that counted too, Sean Tyndale grassing Craig Camorley just short of the line. The referee pulled West's up when they did breach Curry's defence. Brett Cullen's try called back. No problems at the other end. Heyman Lowe got a grubber that caught out Scott Bradley and Curry was up 8-0. Another kick, another try. This time Danny Linane found himself all alone to touch down for an easy one under the sticks. It was 14-4 at the break after Ryan Dagwell crossed, but Curry went on with it after half-time to win by 12.
A new service for Impulse Airlines took flight in Newcastle today, but it didn't involve tarmac or airbags, rather telephones and a friendly voice. Newcastle now the national headquarters of the airline's call centre operation.
We hope that the community realise that this is a big investment for us here. We're continuing to grow our regional business, and Newcastle is a very important and a strategic part of that.
And it's a strategy that's also attracted a helping hand from the federal government, which chipped in $2.5 million from the post-BHP structural adjustment package. Minister for Regional Services, Senator Ian MacDonald, confident in the facility's long-term viability.
And I think that's a long-term permanent investment into Newcastle, and we're confident it'll be very useful in the future in creating those jobs.
The nation's third domestic carrier is now gearing up to launch its new service linking Sydney, Melbourne and Canberra in early June. But the company is hoping the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission will ensure the airline wars generated as a result of deregulation remain fair.
What we want to see is the ACCC ensure that we have a level playing field as we embark on our expansion.
Helen Kapalos, NBN News.
Heading into the round 6 clash at Waratah, both the Cheetahs and Lakes sat 2 points behind Curry at the top of the ladder. And the Seagulls struck early when second rower Jamie Lovett found room out wide for centre Tim Stocker to score. Stocker set up the visitors second with a neat chip kick catching out the Tars at the back, and Troy Miles eventually finished off. But the Tars stormed home, Steve Story scoring a double in a 34-18 point win. Lakes' Jamie Lovett was sent off late for dissent and will front the judiciary tonight, along with Waratah's Michael Varnum, who's up on gouging charges from a round 5 clash. Western Suburb centre Gavin Cook will join them. He was sin-binned after this run-in with Curry Steve Crow and was later sent off for a late tackle. Curry, Cessnock and Waratah lead the way with a 3-point buffer on Lakes and Wests, with the Northern Blues just outside the top 5. And in Group 21 League, Aberdeen beat Muswellbrook, Denman down Singleton, while Corindi beat the Premier Scone by 4.
Environmental concerns at Brisbane Waters have been a major stumbling block for the project. A development application for a wharf complex and passenger terminal at Gosford is still to go through council, but Stephen Duncan says it will.
Guaranteed it's going to happen. We're just finalising our due process now with our DA. Been going through all the issues raised by the different government departments, and we're all but there.
Speaking to the Newcastle business community, Mr Duncan outlined a $109 million project creating 700 jobs over the building and operational phases, which will link Gosford and Sydney for a $60 weekly ticket. The boats will be built at Kooragang Island in the Hunter, and there's already a contract for a $20 million super shuttle ferry for the Hong Kong-Macau route, a fact Steve Duncan uses to put paid to claims that the whole idea will remain a pipe dream.
We've spent $4 million in 6 years of our life, and it's not a pipe dream. It's going to be a reality. We're totally committed to this, so we're going to showcase this, and we're going to make this a huge export market.
There are also plans to extend a tourist super shuttle service into Newcastle. David McElwain, NBN News.
Developing smarter structures is cutting-edge technology at its best. Researchers at Newcastle University are testing the concept of simply attaching piezoelectric patches to structures, thus reducing the amount of vibration emitted.
Once you glue this material to a structure using a strong adhesive material, and change the voltage that you apply to them, you can increase or decrease the vibration inside the structure.
The piezoelectric patches are now being tested on the vertical tail of FA-18 aircraft, which is prone to huge amounts of vibration. And the potential uses of the technology are wide and varied.
There are enormous potential applications in other areas, for instance, measurement and monitoring of vibration in bridges or other flexible bodies. In cars, in wherever you have a flexible structure that you have a problem with vibration, you can use this technology.
The patches can also be used as sensors to measure the amounts of vibration in a structure. And while huge advances are being made, the research is still in its infancy.
There could be some time before the technology is mature to the point that you could apply it to, the sort of devices and the things that people use on a daily basis. Sure, but we are getting there.
Tanya Carlisle, NBN News.
Sharon Denham says her mother, who told her everything, didn't have a boyfriend for 2 years. Now she believes there may have been someone on the scene before Robin Denham was strangled.
To me it seems strange because my mum used to tell me everything, and I don't know who this person is. I'd love to know who this person is.
Sharon found Robin Denham lying face down on her bed with a stocking around her neck last Tuesday. She says her mother was a security-conscious woman who normally kept both doors locked and had bolts on the windows. But she may have left the house unlocked to welcome a regular visitor.
Never opened a door to a stranger, but for the last month apparently a door's been open. Front door's been open, so late at night, and don't know what that means. I wish I did. I wish she'd told me.
Police are also investigating the murders of 33-year-old Susan Kay and 37-year-old Joanne Tetron. Their bodies were found in Carrington on May 17. Last Friday, 39-year-old mother of 3 Judith Brown was also found bashed to death in her Anna Bay home. There appears to be no apparent motive for those crimes, and now Robin Denham's murder may fall into that category. She was to buy a car on the day she died and had thousands of dollars in her house, but daughter Sharon says that's not why her mother was killed.
They didn't take it. So, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's the motive. It doesn't seem like robbery was the motive because nothing's missing, as far as I can tell.
not a deserted island, but the story that unfolded here on the beach at Redhead has certainly captured imaginations. After 3 months at sea and travelling more than 200 kilometres, finally the message in a bottle from students at a Minamurra primary school washed ashore.
I was running along Redhead Beach and I picked up a bit of rubbish and saw a bottle and noticed it had masking tape on the top and saw a bit of paper inside.
And it was a tale too good to keep to himself. He took the bottle home to his daughters, who then took it to school with them, where students decided to put pen to paper in return.
I was pretty excited and wanted to write back. Well, I have a dog and some other animals, so I wrote back to them about all my animals.
They decided posting their messages was more reliable than sending them by sea, but returning to modern forms of communication has taken nothing away from the experience.
You see it on the movies, you see the letter in the bottle, and suddenly we had a real letter.
In 25 years of sending messages, it's the first time the South Coast school has had a bottle end up on northern shores. Brooke Webster, NBN News.
Down 12-4 at half-time, Western kicked off with all the work to do. Some sloppy ball work didn't help their cause. A Michael Gill intercept led to a Northern try in the same set of 6. Max Riddle crossing to extend Northern's lead by 12. Northern continued to find gaps. Hunter Sports High's Clary Moran carving his way through some paper-thin defence. Always a threat, Rutherford's Greg Bird was able to offload to Tane Mulherron, who crossed to make it 20-4. Western then struck back from a quick play the ball, John Oether crashing over. Sensing a Western revival, Northern kept up the pressure. Matthew Lantry was the next to score, Lambton High's Todd Mulville sealing the game minutes later. Western kept its best play for last though, a consolation try to John O'Ralph, keeping the scoreline respectable. Northern now take on Sydney tonight and Southern tomorrow. The CHS team will be chosen tomorrow afternoon. Blake Doyle, NBN News.
Judith Brown had been dead for several hours when her husband arrived home to find her battered body last Friday. The mother of 3 died from a fractured skull after being struck in the head several times, and police now believe the injuries may have been inflicted by a small concrete statue used as a doorstop.
It's missing from the home, and similar to her injuries, we believe this may have been the weapon used.
Police will release a replica tomorrow but describe the statue as 30 centimetres in height, depicting a man similar to a swaggy dressed in grey and possibly sitting on a log with a dog nearby. Also missing from the rented property was Judith's wallet and handbag. It's led police to investigate the possibility the murder was the result of a bungled robbery. The search will again be stepped up for the weapon. The public also called on to assist if they see anything that fits the description.
If people can just keep a look out if they see it in a rubbish tip or elsewhere, it is very unusual and it will stand out, yes.
Helen Kapelos, NBN News. Firefighters poured over the charred remains of the Heritage Garden Centre at Ashtonfield this morning. Assisted by the remainder of the 10 brigades called to the scene, fire investigators were piecing together the cause of the mammoth blaze which took hold at the nursery just before 8.
Apparently the owner's daughter, who lives up the back, said that she looked out after a power failure and seen a very big glow in the sky.
They could just see huge flames about 2 to 3 stories high, then it was getting bigger. I left and went to pick my sister up, come down the street, and it was just huge.
By midday, investigators declared the blaze accidental, pinpointing the source as either a fault in the air conditioner or meter box in the bathroom area.
We can't deem to satisfy us to which one it was that started the fire, but yes, we seem to come to the conclusion that it was an electrical fault.
The damage bill exceeding the $250,000 mark after 17 years of trouble-free business. Owner Bob Dunn is hoping he won't have to retrench any of the 17 staff members while the business closes down for repairs over the next few months.
We may have to actually close for quite a period of time, maybe even a couple of months, and then build a new building and just open where everything is safe and ready to go.
Helen Kapalos, NBN News.
Little had changed in more than 20 years at the Rutherford Aero Club just outside Maitland. That is until today, when new updated facilities were officially opened. It's cost $1 million of the club's money to get the projects off the ground, but the upgrades are set to keep the Aero Club at the forefront of regional aero clubs.
It's been a big job for the club to get this facility upgraded, but they've done it, and I think it's a great benefit to the whole of the region.
Club members say that in the past, Rutherford was overlooked as a stop-off point for passing aeroplanes. But with a smoother runway and a quick, easy refuelling system installed, that'll all change.
We're a big country with long distances, and light aircraft and all that goes with them is the way to cover those distances.
The new $326,000 Piper Archer 3 will also encourage recreational pilots to use the facilities. And according to management, it's not before time.
Well, certainly the whole stream are long overdue, yeah.
Adam Harper, NBN News. Pilots from the Hunter Valley are fast earning themselves a reputation as some of the finest aerobatics pilots in the country. But until now, they haven't had the planes available to take that skill to the next level and claim top world rankings. These two new planes have expanded the local fleet to cater for pilots of all categories in the aerobatics world.
It allows us to help develop those people who wanted to get into unlimited class or category aerobatics to get there.
In particular, the new Extra 300, which is amongst the top 3 aerobatics aircraft in the world and is the only one available in the Southern Hemisphere.
It has a lot more horsepower, 300 horse as opposed to 200. Being the same weight, it gives us a lot more power to weight ratio, plus the aeroplane is a lot more agile and can make us compete on a world level rather than just on a national level.
So with such a fleet, it's possible that the next world champion may emerge.
Well, wouldn't that be great? It's looking that way.
Adam Harper, NBN News.